At HCL, we believe today's organizations, what we term them as the 21st century enterprises, they're looking at three key things, how technology can help them innovate. Three key business value chains, what we call as the user value chain, anything to do with how users inside the organizations, users, business partners, customers, how they interact with the organization. So that's kind of a compelling value chain from a technology perspective. We are looking at how asset value chain, anything to do with assets, and IoT is basically part of that, how they create value for the organization, and also how organizations are leveraging the opportunities coming out of the service value chain. Okay. IoT WoRKS within HCL is a startup business unit. It's focusing on enhancing the asset value chain of the 21st century enterprise, as we call it. Our focus is on industrial IoT or enterprise IoT. We're focusing on specific industry verticals. And basically what we're trying to do is trying to drive increased business value for our customers who are mainly in the Global 2000, leveraging the Internet of Things. Enterprises are going to invest and expand on their IoT capabilities and it's not because it's very trendy, it's not because it's very cool, but it's because it's going to add phenomenal value to their business. It's going to not only improve their bottom line, but also be able to provide new sources of revenue for them. So I would like to use this opportunity today to share how we are thinking, how we are engaging with our customers, and some of the examples that, how we have been able to, using IoT, deliver value through to our customers. In some cases, we've also helped customers build a roadmap, bridging a scalable platform, and some of the intellectual properties we have created along the way, some of the accelerators we have used to help faster adoption of IoT in a very agile manner. I kind of put this slide here to kind of symbolically represent where we were a little over a year ago, and in terms of its IoT's maturity, in terms of IoT's adoption, and our ability to connect the dots between technology and business value. I had the opportunity to speak with several analysts about a year back, and I was trying to look at what customers were looking for, what is the level of adoption. And many of the statistics of the analysts basically showed that customers, probably some of them were leaders, some of them were early adopters who were intending to embark on an IoT platform. Many of them were looking at specific use cases. Most of the industry discussions around IoT were, what are the use cases in my industry? How can I really, from a technology perspective, showcase how IoT can elevate business, and how do I present it to the business leaders? Fast forward 2016, we have had substantial progress. From our own experience, we have been able to connect the dots, articulating how the industrial IoT can help provide insights, improve efficiencies, drive automation, reduce your costs, or increase the life of your assets, right? And apart from that, we've also been able to showcase how IoT can help customers drive new models of revenue. So it's basically about creating value in the industry. And as an analogy, IoT is in the same state of mind, like babies. They first learn to crawl, they start to, kind of fall, they walk, and then they start to run. All this they do with with exuberance, right? So for us, I do believe that for all the enthusiasts and proponents of IoT in this audience here, we need to show the same level of exuberance. In our case, it's about showing the intrinsic value that IoT can drive in terms of adoption, and how agile one can be in terms of taking use cases and building it for the customers. As we take this discussion forward, I would like us to think, how do we really create this business value? Last year, when we initiated discussions with IoT with some of our CXOs in the Global 2000 companies, two primary questions were being asked. Where do we start? And what do we do with all this data that we have? I mean, people were really enamored by the amount of data and the possibility and the potential that data could do for them. These are not the conversations anymore that we have with our CXOs. The reason is because organizations such as ours have kind of engaged with the customers, focusing on specific aspects of the business value that they would like to achieve, and also connecting them with IoT in a more scalable manner and providing IoT as an enabler to business. So if we take this example of predictive maintenance has been there in the industry for, probably 3-4 years. People have been trying to slice big data, identify what situations their assets are in, and predict certain outcomes that come out of the data from these assets. The real value does not come from just the insights from these data, but also being able to connect the dots, connect how these insights can be transformed into business processes, integrating with the enterprise applications or the ERP systems that the companies are using, some of the applications around maintenance, and providing entire spectrum of value. That's the true value that IoT can bring. It's not just about the data, but being able to transform that insights into something which is very tangible and recognizable by the industry. One of the examples, and probably I'll allude to that later, is the aircraft industry, where we've been able to take data from, say, an engine. One of our customers in Canada is from, manufactures these engines, but these engines are supplied to aircraft manufacturers, and then in turn, the aircraft manufacturers sell these engines to the airlines. So as a manufacturer of the engine, they need to keep track of how their engines are performing. And most often when a flight lands into an airport, almost about 1.5 to 2 terabytes of data of how various components of that flight are downloaded into a platform. So our customer, the engine manufacturer, they had to actually download this data and really get significant insights of this so that they could improve the performance of the engine, right? So it was not just about getting the insights of how the engine has performed, what kind of temperatures it's gone through, what kind of, whether it's flown past, or what kind of altitude or speed or engine temperatures and so on. It's all about how do you connect this to the ability to be able to service. So we kind of came out with this concept called as the remaining useful life of an engine. And based on that, it kind of predicts when a maintenance activity needs to be done. But it's not just about predicting when the maintenance activity is to be done, but it's also integrating it with probably the airline's flight path. Where is this airline going to be in the next 20 or 25 cycles, and which would be the most optimal place where the airline or the company can perform the maintenance on that aircraft, what kind of components it needs, what kind of standard operating procedures needs to be followed, and what resources are required to be able to follow that. So every additional minute the aircraft is available to fly safely is creating business value for the manufacturer as well as for the airline company. Leah did mention earlier about the opportunities in the healthcare industry. What we did see in the healthcare industry was, the cost of readmitting patients after they have completed the surgery and they're getting readmitted for the same kind of symptoms within 30 days or 60 days of the surgery is a cost. With the advent of the Affordable Care Act, or what we call as the Obamacare Act, any any patient who kind of gets readmitted is a cost to the hospital, and that's a significant. It's evaluated at almost about $41 billion last year. So technologies like IoT can help with remote, monitoring the patient remotely, looking at their symptoms, providing those data back into the hospital so the hospitals can provide, services to the patient and ensure that their post-surgical treatments are quite successful and they don't return to the hospitals. So that's a huge opportunity that we see from a healthcare perspective, how we can, IoT as a technology can support business users. There are multiple examples that we can talk. I think the most important thing in this discussion is we have moved from a concept of art of the possible. I think this was what we were discussing in 2015, 16, to now talking about the art of delivery. it's important to see how we can transform the business opportunities that IoT brings into effectively delivering those solutions. And the use case can be plenty. We talk about the energy industry. I think outages is a very common problem that we have in the energy industry. It cost in the US almost $2 billion of revenue loss last year. And that's a significant area that IoT can help. Most of the companies in the utility industry have been focusing on smart meters. They're getting data from how energy is being consumed at the end customer level. But I think there's a greater opportunity in terms of identifying those dark assets, what we call as the low voltage and the medium voltage substations, which are at the edge of the grid, and being able to get information from these substations and being able to provide a better quality of data around how demand and supply is, how the power factor in those edge assets are performing. So there's a phenomenal amount of opportunity that energy sector or the transportation sector can get out of IoT. Just a few examples here. So how have we been delivering success from our customers? Most of our engagements have been around, as I said, industrial nature. So we have a few examples here. We have worked with a global pay station manufacturer. When parking system, it was considered as a commodity. I mean, it was considered a metering solution for customers, right? Customers come in, they park for a certain period of time, and then you charge them for the amount of time that they're parked. So we worked with one of our customers in Asia in terms of the parking solution, and we kind of reimagined their business. So we said, you need to understand your customers more. You need to understand what are their parking needs, where do they park, when they get in their cars, how do they park, how long do you expect them to park, and kind of build your customer database to be able to engage with the customers in a more proactive way. The result of that, in under a year, they were able to increase their revenue by almost 30%. They were able to reduce their operating cost by 12%. That's a significant opportunity that engaging with the customer in terms of enhancing the value through technology brings to the business. Another use case here is we worked with a Global 200 company in terms of creating the entire platform. This was an end-to-end project that HCL planned with, right from connecting the devices to the platform. Their products are being implemented across the globe. And we not only provided a platform for them to be able to operate their equipment and get the insights of these equipments, how they're performing at remote locations, but also be able to provide services on top, providing insights and being able to provide services on top. The third case that you see here is office automation major. Obviously the project started with identifying how do I understand how my equipment at the remote locations, be it Xerox machines or printers, how they're performing at their customer end. But actually, one of the biggest opportunity there was the consumables. There was a lot of revenue drain for this customer because most of their end customers were replenishing their consumables through outside agencies, and that was a drain on their revenue. So what we did as part of our program was to connect their systems, connect their products with third-party suppliers like Staples or Office Depot, so that Staples or Office Depot could actually replenish the the consumables proactively to their customers and get benefit out of their providing a complete end-to-end service for their printers and for their Xerox machines. So these are some of the examples that we had. So I want to share with you how do we execute it. I mean, we talked about delivering value, and one of the key components of delivering value is about the ability to provide a very agile methodology. I mean, gone are the days when customers were looking at probably six months or 1 year of implementation. They're looking at probably today, weeks. They're talking about 3 to 4 weeks. Excuse me. Can you get some water, please? Some water. Yeah. So they're looking at probably weeks of engagement. 3 to 4 weeks, they would like to come with a solution, implement that, and take it forward. One of our core competencies has been, we have been building solutions for our customers. We have been building a lot of solutions for the customer, but what we realized in our journey is that, the either end of the spectrum, being able to provide a value-based definition of what technology can bring to customers is something that we felt was the need of the market. And some of the customers with whom we engaged in the early period of our, they said, so we get all this data, we create these applications, but how do we really run it? So they were also looking at how a technology provider like HCL can help them run this on a more sustainable basis. So we created, from a defined perspective, we looked at the various types of IoT approaches in the market. Some of our customers were looking at, user-based. I mean, they said, we have these use cases. Can you help us identify and help us drive value through these use cases? There were other customers who came in and said, we have certain business pain points, and we would like you to engage with our business and IT to come out with a solution that would help us address the business pain points. And the third kind of drive that we have seen in the market is kind of top-down driven. It's driven through a strategy from the CXO's office. And each of these needed different ways of engaging with customers, identifying different personas within the customer organization, and being able to suggest a IoT roadmap in terms of how each of these personas can be met. So we created specific services for these. We used concepts like design thinking and experience lab. We took some of our customers to what we call as an IoT lab that we have, one in Redmond and one in the US and one in India. And we were able to co-innovate with the customer in terms of what their use cases are, how their business pain points could be driven through, and identifying, in fact, cases where we could drive more value to the customer. So these were some of the ways that we engage with the customer. And in terms of the other spectrum, which is the run services, we created, we leveraged some of our technology service components like Dry Ice and ServiceNow. These are mainly IT service enablers, but we included them to be able to take data from devices, provide predictive analytics on top of those platforms, and then orchestrate the IT and the OT convergence so that we could have a common platform, not only to take care of their IT systems, but also to be able to take data from devices and provide services on top of that. So I think today, as HCL, we have a capability of providing end-to-end solutions across the entire spectrum of being able to define, build the solutions, and to be able to run for the customers. I know Liat earlier mentioned that it's not about data. Today, I think there's a plethora of data coming in from various devices. But I think the true value of IoT is in being able to integrate that data, connecting the data to the various processes, through the various applications in the organization, and also engaging that with the people in the organization. Okay? The real transformation comes when you're able to connect the dots, into the processes and then bring them back into the system. So just a few examples in terms of how we have been able to engage here. One was one of our customers in the mining industry in South Africa. They had a significant challenge in terms of IoT. So typically, they were looking at worker safety as one of the key enablers to reduce incidents in their organization. So when we had a conversation with them, it transformed into multiple use cases. It was just not about IoT for worker safety, but they had, for example, a roll call process before planned explosives that they had put in the mine. And then after the explosions, they had to actually, again, do a roll call. The whole process of roll call before and after the explosion, planned explosions, were probably taking about 4 to 5 hours. They were calling up each employee, each miner, identifying where their location is, are they in the safe zone, and had a chart in their control room where they used to tick up and say, hey, all these people have been accounted for, and they used to do the same process after the roll call. So what we did with IoT is we created voice recognition. You could broadcast a message to all the miners, and each of the miner would convey back to the operation room that they were okay or whatever the message was. And through voice recognition, we were able to actually identify everyone was safe, and then we had updated the ledger. The whole process of roll call, which was 5 hours, was reduced to under 5 minutes using technology. That's a huge value that customers can get. Okay. Other cases as well. I already spoke about the airline industry, and the third use case is more about how do you connect medical devices and monitor the patients and bring the data back into the hospitals. So these are some of the live use cases that we have worked on, and it's been a phenomenal journey for us in terms of usage of IoT and providing value to our customers. So in summary, I would like to talk about key things. What has really made our IoT journey successful has been, one, we have clearly defined how to engage with customers in an agile way. Most of our programs are driven in batches of like 3 to 4 weeks. So we take a use case, we work with our customers, identify the needs, and convert that into a program and execute the program in 4 weeks. Okay, and then take the next use case. So we've been continuously providing updates on that. As part of our journey, we have realized that it's very important to engage with customers on not just the IoT use cases, but also to involve their end users and their customers and see how they're able to adopt and consume the systems that we can provide. So we have a team which is called as Beyond Digital, which looks at the user experience and works very closely with IoT to ensure that it's not just about getting the data and connecting it with the processes, but also engaging the users in this discussion and ensuring that their consumption of technology is very seamless and complete. We did categorize our solutions into 4 solution categories. We call them FAST. Basically, FORCE, which is anything to do with WoRKS. We have assets, which, as the name suggests, it's anything to do with assets, whether they're inside the 4 walls or outside the 4 walls of the organization. We have Site, which is to do with infrastructure and facilities and how IoT can help improve, for example, energy management in facilities. And the 4th is Transform. So anything to do with supply chain and transforming the business. My last statement here, I think IoT is not a journey that one can take alone. It's very important to have ecosystem partners, and we have worked very closely with many of our ecosystem partners here. And some of these are on the platform side, but we also work very closely with device partners, with security partners, connectivity partners. I think IoT, to be really successful, we need to involve the ecosystem completely. And that's been one of the hallmarks of our success as far as engagements with customers go. So I just wanted to give you, again, coming back to the main theme, it's not about technology, it's about the business value that IoT can drive in this space. Thank you.